Hello Mission Control. Today we're going to talk about testing various grow media and bottom watering. We're looking at different grow media because it takes a lot of time for us to plant. So I was planting on my own, I was washing these trays on my own. Before Mr. Martian set all this up, I was actually washing the trays in our kitchen sink. So it has been quite a process and we've come a long ways, but it still takes us a long time to plant. Mr. Martian was coming home after work and helping me to plant at night. And it's something that we'd like to get away from. I'd like to be able to minimize the time so I can do it during the day on my own. And with a grow mat, it would take a lot less time to plant because we don't have to deal with the mess. So with the Coco Coir, we're having to rehydrate it, and then you have to let it sit for a while and rehydrate it and mix it and do all that stuff. And that takes a lot of time, and not only time, but it's also messy. So it takes a lot of time to clean up afterwards. So a grow mat would greatly help reduce our time in planting.
Another challenge that we had in the grow media, something that I require, is that the grow media is fully sustainable. And a lot of you out there have talked about peat moss and other types of things like that, but those are off limits to us. We can't use them because they're not sustainable. Peat moss comes from peat bogs up in the north or the higher latitudes, and it takes a long time for it to grow. And folks in Canada and Russia are having a big time, or a hard time I should say, keeping it going because it takes so long to grow, and then we're just harvesting it all, so it's eventually going to run out. So we got to find something that is fully sustainable in order to work.
So some of the reasons why we really like the Coco Coir is not only do we like it, but the animals love it for some reason. So we take our microgreen trays and we throw them to the cows and the horses, and they pretty much eat all the microgreens and break all the coconut coir where hardly anything is left. I think they're eating it too. I don't know. Hopefully it's not bad for them. So this is where we have been keeping our Coco Coir and where we rehydrate it. We like it because it comes in big blocks, so it's easier to store. And not only that, it's a lot cheaper. It's significantly cheaper than the mats. So we're gonna have to love the grow mats in order for us to use them instead of the Coco Coir. We have 9 total trials. Trial number 1 is the grow media with just aquaponics water and flood and drain tray. Trial number 2 is the grow media with well water with the flood and drain table. Trial number 3 is the grow media with maxi crop and aquaponics water. Trial number 4 is the grow media with maxi crop and well water. Trial number 5 is the grow media with hydrogen peroxide and aquaponics water. And trial number 6 is the grow media with hydrogen peroxide and well water. Trial number 7 is the grow media with using hydrogen peroxide and maxi crop and aquaponics water. And then we move on to 8, which is the grow media with hydrogen peroxide and maxi crop and well water. And then for the final experiment, number 9, we're doing the grow media with well water underneath the grow lights to see how they do. For this trial, we decided to use 4 different types of grow media. We're using a hemp mat, we're using the Coco Coir that we've been using that we're rehydrating, we're using a felt mat, it's a BioStraight felt mat, and then the other one is a hemp felt mat. And I like it because it's organic, so I'm excited to see how that one does, and it's a little thicker. So trial number 1 is just using the flood and drain tray and testing out the bottom watering. So for each one, each trial, actually just 8 of them, we decided to try some in the aquaponics flood and drain table with aquaponics water and some in the flood and drain table with well water. Trial number 2 is essentially the same as trial number 1. We're not putting anything on the trays. We're just using the flood and drain tray and well water instead of aquaponics. Trial number 3, we decided to use a little bit of fertilizer on. So we used maxi crop, which is a kelp substance. So I have read that some of the reasons the grow mats don't work as well is because they don't have the nutrients in there. So I decided to experiment with some maxi crop, which is used a lot in aquaponics, so it's totally safe for the fish. So I sprayed the seeds with the recommended amount of concentrated maxi crop powder and water. And so I'm hoping they'll do great. So trial number 3 is going to be set up with the aquaponics water flood and drain table. Trial number 4 is the same thing. I just sprayed the seed with maxi crop, and then we're just going to use the well water. Trial number 5, we decided to spray the seeds with hydrogen peroxide to try to prevent anything from growing. Well, not the microgreens from growing, just any fungus or any other things that we don't want growing. And so trial number 3, we sprayed the seeds with hydrogen peroxide and we're using aquaponics water. Trial number 6 is, again, we sprayed the seeds with hydrogen peroxide and we're using well water to see how they do. Trial number 7, we're using both hydrogen peroxide and the maxi crop with aquaponics water. Trial number 8, again, we sprayed with hydrogen peroxide and the maxi crop and using well water. Trial number 9, we just decided to do one type of water. We're just going to use well water with this trial, and we're gonna put them underneath the grow lights. So we're going to do a flood and drain system manually by putting a tray without holes underneath the tray with holes, filling it up and dumping it every day just to see if the grow lights make a difference. In my research, I found that people growing microgreens have used paper towels to cover them. So they need darkness while they germinate, basically simulating how they would be in soil. So not only do the paper towels keep them in darkness, but they also provide a weight. So they have something to struggle against like they would in soil, which makes them stronger. So we're using the paper towels and we're spraying them. I've been out here twice a day to make sure that they stay moist during germination, and just keeping the paper towels moist keeps essentially the microgreens moist. As you can see, this germination takes up so much space. It's taking up like almost a whole lane. So we have recently come to discover a germination chamber, which I am so excited about. I'm probably too excited about, but so a germination chamber keeps the microgreens moist. It keeps them at a temperature that is desirable. They need a warmer temperature, like 70 to 80 degrees to germinate. And it would consolidate the space. And not only that, they germinate more consistently and faster. So that would allow for less chance of microbes and other things to grow on them. So I'm really excited about that. The only problem is it costs so much money. So we definitely need to get microgreens back up and running before we're able to even think about making a purchase like that.
So you got quite a few experiments set up here again.
Yeah.
She's been doing awesome, hasn't she? With all the experiments. This is pretty impressive. One of the things that I get to watch when we go through all these different grow medias is how are we going to compost everything, because with paper towels and with the hemp and the Coir and all the different types of mats, the felt mats, some of them don't decompose very quickly, and they're certainly not going to be eaten by the animals. So we're going to end up potentially with a bunch of trash, and we've got to figure out how to manage that trash in a sustainable way, because that's part of what we have to do. Now, a lot of those mats, when you research, they do decompose.
Yes, but it may take a long time for them to decompose, and the bigger they are, the more time it's going to take for them to decompose.
Yeah, so some of the ideas we've had are like part of the digester, maybe we can grind them up and get them into the digester, but felt mats aren't going to be able to do that. Plus, they're not really going to help the digester at all because they don't have any energy in them that the digester can convert. The hemp mats and the Coco mats might have a little bit of energy in them that we can use in the digester, but probably not a whole lot. So it could end up where we have big piles of compost bins that are out there that we have to turn and keep happy so they can hot decompose, or hot composting, I guess, which might put us back to just using Coco because it's so easy.
I know.
Like she said, the horses, we literally, when we're done, we just take the trays and we go dump them right into the horses and the cows, and they love them. And by the time they're done with it all, they really don't leave anything behind. The Coco, maybe there's a little bit, but it does look like they kind of eat it like a dessert almost, or something.
Yeah, I know.
But either way,
sweet. It's
really, really easy to take care of all of that. So it's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on no matter what solution and how well the experiments go.
Yeah.
Those just further evidence that it's like whack-a-mole. If you solve one problem, you bring up another problem, no matter what you do here. So it's definitely an integrated system.
And with the OSU results, we know that nothing is growing in the Coco Coir, and we know that nothing is growing in the Coco Coir that we purchased from the company we purchased. So that is also reassuring. Yeah. So it is leading us more towards using Coco Coir, especially since they do grow, and we know they grow really well in it.
Yeah, but this is The Real Martian, and we got to experiment just to see. We've had so many subscribers tell us all these ideas, so we're giving it a shot.
Always keeping me in check, Mr. Martian.
Yeah. So that was another great job there putting that all together. That's pretty much it for this video. You got anything you want to say to the folks out there in YouTube land?
Just please, if you have any ideas or more input, we'd love to hear from you.
I know we got some really good stuff regarding some, was it helpful bacteria?
Oh yeah, the bacillus.
Yeah, so thanks again for those comments. Really appreciate you guys following along. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe. And don't forget you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Patreon. In the meantime, this is Mr. and Mrs. Martian out.